I have attended an all-girls school situated here, in the nation's capital. Since stepping through those big glass doors in a green blazer that was twice my size, I was immersed in a world of possibility. In the junior school, we studied the IB-PYP learner profiles, and we were encouraged to be thinkers, inquirers, risk-takers, and open-minded. As a result, everyone acted with an air of confidence, knowing that their peers accepted them for who they were. Girls felt comfortable tackling the most difficult of maths problems and were rewarded for winning accolades in science competitions. At school, I have always been told that I can do anything and be anyone. Something that for far too long I have taken for granted. Because unfortunately, the world outside the glass doors of my school is not nearly as supportive or friendly. In fact, for someone like me, a woman of colour, everything is starkly more judgmental. It is undeniable that we live in a world of inequality. Political inequality, economic inequality, and social inequality. As a young woman, I will have to face challenges and leap over barriers that many a man would never even encounter. Discrimination has become so embedded in the social psyche that for many, it has become subconscious. Because I don't actually believe that there are many people across the globe who would actively bar women from entering high-ranking jobs or would decide to pay them any less. But the fact still stands that women spend twice as many hours as men doing unpaid work. There are 130 million girls across this world who will never receive an education. And half of all women in Australia report suffering some form of sexual harassment. As a young woman, I want to go out into the world knowing that I have equal rights and feeling protected. But when I look down the road to Parliament House from my school, when I look to who is representing me, my options are extremely limited. The issue is not that women cannot make change and aren't capable of making change, because from what I've seen at school, we really are. The issue is that we often can't access the same change-making opportunities as our male counterparts. The problem of gender inequality is that currently it is a problem that is impossible to solve. With only 39% of politicians in Australia being female and only 25% globally, it is impossible for women to fight and make change for women. The problem of gender inequality lies in the barriers that women face in politics. With very little representation in national parliaments and cabinets, it is difficult for women to publicly and effectively push for change, or even just represent their own views on things like education, healthcare, climate change. But more importantly, because of that lack of representation, women across the globe begin to feel disempowered, because they begin to wonder, if even the best of women cannot succeed, how could I? According to Harvard Business School research, women are statistically less likely to fight for their own rights. They are less inclined to self-promote than men, even when a job is at stake. And all of that can be traced back to politics. So today, I want to explore the barriers that women face in politics, but also explore some possible solutions. I want to explore how education can be used to fix the inequality gap. But before I do that, I just want to point out that this is not just a women's issue. Representation is something that affects everyone. Have you ever felt like the people in Parliament don't accurately represent you or your identity or your community? Representation is a global issue. It is a national issue. It is an issue that touches each and every one of us. So even though today I'm going to be focusing on women in politics, all of the mechanisms that I use, all of these solutions that I propose, can also be applied to other groups of people. So, backtracking a little bit, why then are women so severely underrepresented in political leadership roles? I think there are two groups to discuss here. Firstly, there are the women who are deterred from entering politics in the first place. To these would-be Penny Wongs and Jacinta Ardern's, politics is a cold and unwelcoming environment. The amount of sexual scandal headlines is enough to make anyone run the opposite direction, and this is compounded by the historical view that politics is only for the big boys. Even for those who are able to overcome these deterrents, the little reward that isn't even guaranteed is vastly outweighed by the sheer amount of time and effort required to even get to that point. And so these women fairly choose another path somewhere else. The second group of people I want to talk about are the women who are courageous enough to brave the waters, but struggle to climb the political ladder and get to a place within politics where they can actually make change. If we look at Australia's recent election, according to the Australian National University, just 2 in 10 female candidates from the 2 political parties were running in winnable seats. 2 in 10. Globally, out of 193 countries, just 24 have women serving as heads of state or government. If women cannot get to a position in politics where they can be seen and where they can be heard, that future of equality is very far off. But now I'm sure you're wondering, Bella, how can we fix this mess? Can we fix this mess? My answer is yes, I think we can. The solution that I want to propose today may not quite be a silver bullet, but it is certainly a step in the right direction. My solution is threefold. Firstly, we need to get more women in the room. That means we need to start building networks and encouraging girls to go into politics early. What better place to do that than the very institutions that are built to help young people find their place in the world? The very institutions that cultivate a supportive and comfortable environment for young girls to challenge themselves. Schools. And perhaps the best starting place is within all girls' schools. In 2021, Canberra Girls Grammar School launched The House, a program designed to provide a pathway for girls looking to enter politics. The House's long-term goals include creating networks with existing female politicians and political institutions, creating bursaries for girls looking to enter politics, and garnering higher student engagement in politics. The House is more than just an extracurricular. It hopes to one day be directly integrated into the school curriculum. When I was first asked to be a part of the House's planning committee, I honestly had no idea what I was signing up for because the goals of the House just seemed so nebulous and so far-fetched. But after a few months of experimenting, talking to people, writing things down on large pieces of butcher's paper with brightly coloured markers, I began to realise that the House is something truly special to be a part of. It is programs like this that will allow young girls to explore the ways in which they may change the world. The House and equivalent programs allow girls to be fast-tracked into the political landscape and bond with a large network of alumni and professionals. The House is making waves in the future. The House, in and of itself, is a huge change to the world around us, but also something that's incredibly accessible, because once it is grounded in these supportive environments, these sorts of programs could branch out into schools across the country. Promoting politics is something anyone, regardless of race or gender, can engage in. So education is how we are going to get women in the room. But secondly, once we have women who are in the room, we need to help them survive Parliament. Programs like the House will greatly assist with this, given they provide networks that ensure no aspiring female politician ever feels like they are fighting alone. But more than that, this is where you come in. By supporting your neighbour, your daughter, your fourth cousin, sister-in-law, or your local aspiring female politician to make local or federal change, you will be helping close the gender inequality gap. Because frankly, we all have a role to play when it comes to making aspiring female politicians feel welcome. Thirdly, once we have women who are in the room and fighting for change, there will be an immediate flow-on effect, because women across the world will feel empowered to make change in their individual jurisdictions. But more than that, with the horizon of inequality disappearing and the idea of equality becoming on the forefront of our minds, everyone will feel empowered. Young girls will have role models to look up to. And overall, there will be a global shift towards the idea that women can do anything. So why then is this so important? Why should I care? The thing is, fighting for gender inequality is more than just fighting for women. In a way, it is about celebrating our differences, which taps into a key feature of human nature and allows us to explore our desires and goals as a global community. We all have a duty as global citizens to stand up and strive for an equal future. So, at the end of this talk, to all the young girls in the room, I urge you to be fearless, to be brave, and sign up for programs like the House, even if politics isn't your thing, because who knows? You might find something that you love. If you can't access a program like the House, make your own and help lead the fight to end gender inequality.